Yo guys, what's up? It's Ryan from Tower Reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Amazon Kindle Fire, a 7-inch tablet that recently came out. And I'm going to get started by showing you all the hardware features. It's a form factor similar to the BlackBerry Playbook. It's pretty thin. Let me show you a comparison to my iPod Touch 4th Gen. So yeah, I mean, it's not the thinnest. I think it's a little bit thicker than the iPad 2, but still no slouch in that department. So you've got the Kindle logo on the back. It is an 8GB model. That's the only one that they have. No 3G, just Wi-Fi. On the top of the device, you have stereo speakers, and on the bottom of the device, you have a 3.5mm headphone jack, micro USB port, and the power button. No volume rockers on either side, which is a little bit of a problem because there is some legwork you have to do just to change the volume, but really no big deal there. Right here you have what Amazon claims to be a pretty scratch resistant and impact resistant display. Have had no problems with scratches so far. I've only had it for a couple of days though. The power button's on the bottom, which is a little bit weird. I'm not sure what made them decide to do that, but it really is no problem. You get used to it. But if you are resting it, let's say as you lay in bed, you might push the button. And overall, it just feels like a solid device because the back is sort of a soft touch plastic that feels almost like a case built on. So if you drop it, it feels like it could take impact better than, let's say, an Apple device. So now let's get into the software of the device and show you what makes this thing run. So you get a slide to unlock with the time and the date. Not much information on here. No notifications pop up here. And you slide from the right to the left, which can be a little bit awkward because you have to reach across. And then here is the interface of the device. You have the carousel, which has all your apps on it, which is a little bit annoying because it isn't exactly the smoothest system of showing apps. As you can see, they have some trouble loading. The less apps you have, obviously, the better it is at loading. And then you can put favorites down here, which is what I've come to learn to do because it's just less load faster down there. So it's just easier. I've added all my apps to my favorites so I can just scroll down and get them. I think they should have turned this more into like a multitasking or last 10 system, but they decided to put all the apps up here. I don't know about that. And also another thing to note about the interface is that they're not very consistent on the shape. Books are rectangles, apps are squares, movies or TV shows are rectangles rotated the other direction, and some apps are just completely whatever shape they want to be. As you can see, this one here is a sun. I don't really know how I feel about this. It's kind of like Windows Phone 7's Metro UI kind of feel with different size tiles. But I don't know. I kind of like the clean lookingness of the iPad with all things consistent. But again, it's really up to you. It's not a deal breaker in any way. Talking more about the interface of the device, you have all your different types of media up at the top. You've got newsstand, books, music, video, docs, apps, and web. And above that, you have a universal search with the keyboard, which is a good time to talk about that. I really like this keyboard. It's not like most tablets keyboards where they are hard to reach, similar to how this is in landscape. But in portrait, I find it extremely easy to type on. It's almost like a smartphone, but a little bit less cramped, so that's really good. And here you can search the web or your library. And then above the universal search, you have whose Kindle it is, which has your notifications, which might come up if you're I don't really know. I've seen it come up when I download apps, but I haven't really seen it for anything else yet. And then up here, this is how you get to your settings. You tap this little settings. You also get Wi-Fi and battery. So you got portrait orientation lock. So I just locked it. You have volume, which is this is how basically you're gonna have to access your volume at all times. You have brightness, which is nice. Wi-Fi brings up a quick little menu, and it shows you all the Wi-Fi networks you've been on, which is kind of cool. Then you have sync. It just syncs everything up with the cloud, I would guess. Then you have more, which brings you into a somewhat Android-looking menu because it is a custom Android build. And you can check things such as battery percent, memory, so you can see that you have 6.54 gigabytes available out of the 8. So it was pretty nice, pretty easy setup of the device. It syncs with your Amazon account, so that's how you purchase apps and things of that nature. Very seamless sync, similar to Apple. Everything is in its own ecosystem. It's all synced with Amazon content and all works up in the cloud. Okay, so you got newsstand up at the top here, and as you can see, you have options for your cloud or this device, which I don't have any newspapers or magazines downloaded because I don't feel like subscribing to them, but you can go to the store and check out what they have right here. So yeah, they have a pretty good selection. Let's see, let's go to Men's Health and see. The monthly price is $207. The current issue is $4.99. So that gives you an idea of the prices. I'm not sure how universal those prices are because I've seen other ones that the monthly price is more than the current issue. Up here you have books, which is kind of where the Kindle came from. So I have a couple books loaded on here. I'll just show you how that experience is. Let's go into the Oxford Dictionary, a rather large book because it's a dictionary. So it's pretty good at going through the pages. The animation is a little laggy. For not having any special animation, I would have liked to see it have been a little bit smoother, but no big deal really. Down at the bottom you have a scroll bar to get through all of the pages of the book, and then you have obviously your home button, which is universal throughout the user interface, then a back button to go back. You have your type size or font size, and you also have line spacing, margins, color mode. There's a couple different colors you can choose, and then your fonts. In the menu you have some settings for your books right there, and then you also have your search option, so you can search words in the book, I'm guessing. So yeah, I find that pretty good. As far as actually reading and how it feels reading for a while, I was reading the Steve Jobs biography sample for a good amount of time today, and in good lighting, it's pretty good experience. I could read it for a while and it wasn't hurting my eyes, but at night in my room when it was dark, I found that when it's really bright, it kind of does hurt your eyes, but then again, you couldn't even read a normal Kindle in the dark without a light, so you gotta just weigh those options right there and decide what you think of that. So you also got music. I'll just show you what kind of music you got in the store here. Got your recommended bestsellers. Let's see some of the bestsellers just to get an idea of the selection. So yeah, it looks like they have a pretty good selection of music. Probably not going to compare to iTunes, but still pretty good. And the music player itself, I've seen in video, it's pretty nice. It's what you would expect. You can't really go wrong with a music player. Then you got video, which brings me into the Amazon Prime, which gives you access to, I believe it's thousands of shows and movies. It's similar to Netflix, however, where it's not really, they're not really the new movies that you would probably be wanting to see. As you can see by the popular movies, they're not really anything new. So these are the movies. You got TV over here, and you get 30 days free. Anyone who buys the Amazon Kindle Fire will get 30 days free of Amazon Prime service. So let's go into Lost. And you've also got Whisper Sync, which will allow you to resume playing from any of your devices, so it should resume right from where I was last. And it loads up rather quickly. Yep, loads right from where I was. And you've got your volume up here, which I found the further you go up, the more it changes. And up to about halfway point, there really is no difference in the volume, and you can't actually hear anything. Like, it starts getting a lot louder from the halfway point. It's really low right here. You can get the volume so low. And then you have a go back 10-second button here. Your pause and play.
That's stupid.
Alright, so you also have the scroll bar down at the bottom, obviously. Pretty standard video player. The only new thing that I haven't really seen a lot is the back 10 seconds button, but so let's go back to the store. So yeah, Amazon Prime, it's $80 a year. You get all these movies and TV shows, and you also get free 2-day shipping, which is pretty good deal, especially if you buy a lot of Amazon items. And then Lost shows up right here, so it's not like a completely separate thing. You can get right back into it from the carousel, which is nice. You also have documents up here. So you have the preloaded Kindle Fire User's Guide. It didn't come with any sort of guide, so I guess they just decided to put it on here, which is sort of a neat idea, unless it breaks and you're trying to figure out how to troubleshoot that. But I guess it's a good idea. And then you have apps, which a lot of people are probably interested in, because if you were just interested in books, you would probably be getting a Kindle or a Kindle Touch. So let's show you the app selection. Now, since this is running an Android skin, you would expect that it would have the full Android App Store with hundreds of thousands of apps, but it does not. It has the Amazon App Store, which is not bad, but it's definitely not great. They have, I would say, maybe few thousand apps. So as you can see from the top, it's mainly your well-known trite apps like Angry Birds, Cut the Rope, and if you like that and that's all you're really interested in, then that's fine. But for me, I like to have a huge selection of apps, and really the only way to do that is to go with Apple or actually have the full Android App Store. But it's really not that bad. I mean, I'm probably not giving it enough credit. It has a decent selection, and the App Store is not that great either, because as you can see, they put way too many apps in here and the device just cannot handle it. They have about, what, 10 times the amount of apps Apple puts on there, so I don't know what they're thinking there. They should make it a top 25 and then a second page. Across the top, you have all your different categories. You have new, games, entertainment, lifestyle, news and weather, utilities, social networking, all categories, and recommended for you. And down at the bottom, you have, again, the same similar thing. Let's see, categories in a list. Yep, that's pretty nice. It shows your app selection right here. You have the cloud, which is your apps that you have downloaded but are not on this device, so you can get them. So right off the bat, I noticed that it looks pretty good. There is sort of like, I'm not seeing it, there is a slight distortion to it. And of course, to turn down the volume, I have to fumble around with the on-screen controls. It looks slightly distorted, like it's widened or something. I don't really know if that's, I don't know what that is, but so let's retry. It runs pretty smooth, but the one thing I've noticed, I'm pretty sure you can use multi-touch on other tablets, can't you? Can you use multi-touch in Fruit Ninja? You can on this.
Hold on.
I thought you could use multiple fingers. I remember doing that on my iDevice. But it runs pretty smooth, and I think there's a good future for the Amazon Kindle Fire in running games.
Sure that tablet is only like a 2-touch multi-touch display.
We're thinking that it doesn't have full multi-touch capability, only 2 fingers, which would explain why it can still pinch to zoom and things like that. So